Love Woodward Sports? Love wearing clothes? Then you should be wearing Woodward Sports clothes. Check out our full line of merch at WoodwardSports.com. Just click on Shop. We have all your favorite designs, like Dan Campbell kneecaps, Woodward Golf, and of course, our own logoed out merchandise. Men, women, infants, kids all love Woodward Sports. Impress your friends. Impress your boss. Impress your dog. Buy Woodward Sports merch today.
What up, though, everybody? Playoff basketball is here. NBA playoff basketball. First time we've been able to say that in a while. I am Chris Platte, filling in for Detroit Kool-Aid, who will be here for the live watch party. We have a whole day of hoops, but right here with me, I got the legend, Terry Foster, in the building.
I can tell everyone around here is so excited about seeing Pistons playoff basketball for the first time in eons. You're the only person around here wearing a shirt.
I got a jersey. I got a K jersey ready. Right. I got one loaded for the watch party.
I thought you were going to take all your clothes off like everybody else is around here, so they're excited. But,
it's great.
I want to bring up one word, or maybe this is two words.
All right.
Tap.
Yeah?
I was reading some quotes from the great philosopher Draymond Green, who interestingly said he's wondering if Jalen Duren and B. Stu can make Karl Anthony Towns quit. Because they're so physical, and the Knicks were complaining about the Pistons being physical, and I understand the Knicks have the better starting five. I think this is going to be a war of attrition and a mental war that the Pistons have an advantage against the Knicks. Knicks are fighting demons that they're a little bit soft, and that is going to play into this series. It may not play in game one, but I think by game 2 or 3, those demons are going to seep in. The Garden crowd will probably be booing, and the Pistons are going to put doubt into the Knicks. That's why I think the Knicks are going to lose this series to the Pistons in 6.
Wow. We will get to our final playoff predictions, but before that, make sure you're tapped into Woodward Sports all day. We will have this pregame show leading up to the game, and then at 6 o'clock we will be going live with a watch party, breaking down the game as it's happening with the heavyweights. Kool-Aid will be here, a whole panel of Woodward Sports people. And then after, we got the post-game show. So after game 1, we will have an immediate reactionary post-game show with myself, Kool-Aid, and Anson, as well as a whole cast.
And I got another surprise for everybody.
Yeah.
We have a phone number so you can actually talk to us, and that is 313-552-6322. So
call in.
Folks can call in and yell
Give us
at
your
us
thoughts.
or scream or praise, whatever you want to do, or talk about the Pistons. And I really believe this. I think the Pistons may not be the better team, but they will be the winning team.
Wow. It just each time you say it, it's still hitting me. Like it's genuinely surreal that we are here playing meaningful basketball, like we talked about past Halloween, Thanksgiving, whatever early holiday mark you want to say. It's been a while since Pistons have played meaningful basketball this time of year, so I'm excited for it, and it's just now starting to hit me that we're the primetime game too. ESPN, 6 o'clock, third game against the media darling, the New York Knicks. I can't wait. So, Terry, the one thing I want to ask you is, who is the one player you're most interested to watch? So it could be whether it's you feel they are important to determining the outcome of the series, like you mentioned, Jalen Duren or Isaiah Stewart, or somebody that a lot of these young Piston players, this is their first time in the playoffs, so you're just fascinated to see how them or their game translates. What's the player you're excited to watch?
Obviously, you can say Cade Cunningham, because if he's nervous, then the Pistons are done. But, another guy, Malik Beasley, I want to see how he comes in and how he's acting. Is he calm? Is he confident? Because he sure is talking that way. But the thing that I fear, the only fear I have for the Pistons is they maybe have that deer in the headlights look. Like, oh, my God, we're in Madison Square Gardens on prime time. The playoffs, oh, my God, where are we? Get me back home to mama. So you don't want to see that. But the way that they act, the way that they've played, it looks like a Piston team is going to come in and like, hey, yo, we here to win this. because they're not satisfied. And I don't hear a bunch of talk like, "Oh, the Knicks are a good ball club, and we want to, give them a battle." No, they're talking about we're gonna win this series.
Yeah.
We're gonna show the world what we can do.
Yeah.
So there's a difference.
Malik has a lot to talk about. He has a lot to back up because he shout out to Detroit Kool-Aid, who got the video of him talking pretty messy about Cat, saying that he's not scared of Cat. He's not even thinking about Cat. That's not even a thought in his mind as he enters this series. So he is absolutely someone that has to back it up. A player I want to watch just for the sheer interest of how much time he will get on the court and how impactful he will be is Ron Holland. I want to see what he does. We all know his struggles offensively, but he has found ways to be productive. We know his defensive talent, but he's been kind of he's kind of at the bottom of that rotation to where, playoff basketball, the rotation gets a lot shorter. So I want to see what kind of leash he has, especially early on in games 1 and 2 in this series. I want to see what he can do, and I want to see just how much he's playing.
Right, and that's a very interesting point because usually in the playoffs, that rotation shrinks a little bit. So somebody that you've been looking at says, "Hey, he's really contributing," is not going to play that much. So who's it going to be?
Yeah, I think it's going to be. I hope it's Fontecchio. I hope we don't see many Fontecchio minutes, and I hope that Ron Holland can give you something productive because you're going to count on Malik Beasley, Dennis Schroeder. Those are Isaiah Stewart. Those are going to be your 3 for sure guys. And usually a playoff rotation is about 8, 9, at the very max 10 guys. So you need that last spot. Who's it going to be? Is it going to be Paul Reed? Is it going to be Ron Holland? Is it going to be Fontecchio? Who's going to be that guy that steps up?
I can already guarantee you it won't be 10 guys.
Yeah.
It won't be by the middle of this series on. It will not be 10 guys.
Yeah.
They will identify 8, maybe 9 guys, and that's who's going to be in the rotation.
Yeah.
You can always count on 8.
Yeah.
But the Pistons is so tough because there's guys who've been contributing. Your boy Fontecchio, who you don't want to see, he's contributed now and then. So he's probably going to be the odd man out. Somebody is going to lose minutes, and not just a few minutes, but all of his minutes. We've got to figure out who that's going to be. Could be your boy. Yeah,
it could be Ron Holland. I think he's right on the edge there. So if he could come in and provide defensive energy, I think he'll be a key component. And we do have a star-studded crew. It's not just Terry and I holding it down. We got 2 people in the booth. So shout out KG. Too cool for Twitter.
Hey,
my man,
damn right.
My man, too cool for Twitter.
Tell him about me.
I heard Kevin Garnett is KG because of you.
Yeah.
I heard that's where it came from. I heard you.
Yeah, he was inspired.
I heard you bestowed upon him the honor, and he's just carrying on the legacy.
Yeah, like the anything is possible line. I fed him that too. So shout out to KG, man. That's my guy. Man.
Shout out to KG, and then we got my boy Justin, fresh off a natty.
Yes, sir.
Fresh off of a natty.
How we doing?
He look like he's still celebrating. Look at him.
and he should. Hey, bro, I want you to know something. I went to CMU. I ain't hating on you. I'm not. Because, some of my little Chippewa fans were like, "Oh, God, the Western had to win a national championship." So what? Let you enjoy it. State of Michigan guy, man.
Right.
I'm happy for you guys.
Hey, thank you, Terry. I got a little bit of hate on Big D Energy, by who, but Go Broncos. And I'm glad. Thank you, Terry. I appreciate it. Come from a CMU guy, that's surprising, and I appreciate it a lot.
Yeah, because I love you. You know why I love the Broncos?
What?
Every time I go to Western Michigan, somebody there gets me drunk.
Yo.
So hey, I'm not gonna hate on you when you win a natty.
That's just good hosting. That's just good proper hosting right there. But yeah, shout out to you, man, for the national championship. You provided great coverage for Woodward Sports, and I'm hoping you could bring just a fraction of that championship energy to this series.
Yes,
I hope
sir.
So.
Hey, that hat fly as fuck too, dog. That hat is clean.
Thank you.
So I want to ask you. Let's start with you, Justin. Terry and I gave our answers. We'll go to you two in the booth real quick. So, who is one player that you want to watch in this series? It could be X factor, like you believe they are important, or it can be something as much as you just want to see them in the limelight, how they handle it, how many minutes they're going to play, so on and so forth. Justin, I'll start with you. Who's the player you want to watch in this series?
I really want to watch Ron Holland. I'm really intrigued by the young guy. He's got a lot of jump into him. He's gonna provide that energy for this series. You're gonna need him to lock it down in defense, and then you're gonna need him offensively. This is gonna be a sort of a rock fight of a series. It seems like both teams are gonna want to hunker down on defense, get to the paint, and I think that a guy like Ron Holland, who has the length to really press that issue of not letting him get into the paint and then scoring transition points, which are going to be limited in this series, I think that could be a key swing for the Pistons, in my opinion.
Okay. What about you, KG? I like that.
Ooh, man, there's so many good players to watch in this series. If I'm going with anybody right now, it's got to be Beef Stew. Because Beef Stew could be the key to everything. He could be the key to the Pistons winning this series, or he could be the key to them losing this series if he gets a hot head and, lets the other team get in his head. But one thing we don't got to necessarily worry about is the referees. Normally in the playoff series, they tend to let them play a little bit more. And with a team that hasn't experienced really getting foul calls, I think they pretty much are made for this playoff situation. And somebody like Beef Stew has got to realize he's way more valuable on the court than he is on the bench. So you really have to do your best. We want you to play with an edge. Like, don't not go out there and be who you are, but at the same time, you have to, play with a certain, intelligence out there, because if not, the other team will get in his head, he'll get in foul trouble, and those are less minutes that we could be guarding Cat or using them in some other way on the floor, because we absolutely need that defense and that shot blocking ability around the rim. So hopefully he can keep a cool head. I'm not really worried though. Like JB Bickerstaff, I have him ready.
Yeah,
See, I was wondering when one of us knuckleheads were going to mention a big guy.
Yeah, Beef Stew.
Because really, I mean, the edge for the Knicks is inside, and so when you're talking about trying to cut Cat down by his knees, who's going to do it? It's either going to be Beef Stew or Jalen Durham. No one else is going to do that. Ron Holland's not going to do it. Cade's not going to do it. But you always try to attack someone and make them a weaker link. Mm-hmm. And so now you're the Pistons, I expect, and did I mention the word tap-tap?
Yes, you did.
Okay. Tap-tap means you get somebody and you attack them. You knock them on their ass, or you make them know that you're there. And the reason Beef Stew is a critical cog is he's going to have to, at some point, be really physical with Karl Anthony Towns, and he may have to bust his ass, knock him to the ground. But he can't go overboard. He can't be flexing and showing off his little Detroit jersey and getting out of character. Mm-hmm. But he's going to have to show some type of aggressiveness to neutralize a guy, Cat, that people around the league seem to think is gettable, that you can get inside of his head and make him a weakling.
Yeah, I mean, history tells you that. Numbers tell you that.
We saw that in the last Knicks game. In the fourth quarter. We saw it.
Absolutely. So Cat is one of those guys. I think that is a big key swing part in the series. That tap-tap, that comes from the bad boys, right? That's the old that's the old edge.
They passed along to the young fellas too.
Yeah. I mean, Isaiah Thomas did don them the new bad boys. He gave them that title, so I'm excited for that. One thing I want to do is I want to go into a number that you're looking at, a number that you find interesting when it comes to this series. For me, I will start with it. It's defense. Now, the Knicks are 13th in defense, so you think, okay, that's a pretty good defensive team. That's about where a playoff team needs to be. Mm-hmm. It's 13th or higher. But if you look at the numbers throughout the season, what actually happened is the fact that the Knicks were a bottom 10 defense, and then when Jalen Brunson went out, they leaned into Tibbs ball, just be super physical, be aggressive, and then they catapulted all the way to 5th, bringing them to 13th or 11th overall in the year. Jalen Brunson came back a week or two before the season ended, and they already fell from 11th to 13th on the year. So the point being that this 13th ranked defense is not actually a 13th ranked defense. It is a much weaker defense, and that is good because the Pistons are not the most potent offense, and the Knicks are an offensive-led team. So if the Knicks are not going to be good defensively and the Pistons are good defensively, that will close that scoring gap that they have between them right now.
And since you're into numbers right now, young man, there's another one. The Pistons have the 10th best defense in the NBA, but it's not really the 10th best defense. Since the turn of the calendar year, 2025, that's been the number 1 or number 2 defense. So the Pistons are much better defensively than the number 10 ranked team in the NBA. So the Knicks are going to have to get through that. So that's going to make them tougher too.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm so stoked. I'm so stoked for this. Another one I want to quickly throw out there because you brought it up, so I think this flows perfectly. Is you brought up the battle of the paint, right? And I know Kool-Aid's got some great points on this. We're gonna get to his points, and it'll kind of tie in here. And that is that the Knicks are 6th in the league in points in the paint. So that is where they score the majority of their points. However, the Pistons are the 4th best interior defense in the league. So that plays right to their strength. So the Knicks' number 1 offensive strength is actually a Pistons defensive strength. And that is a big key to me on how they can win this series. Because if their best version of attacking is something that the Pistons are good at, I like the Pistons' chances to be able to hold their own there.
Right, and the Pistons also get a lot of points in the paint, which is critical too. Because we hear people say, I don't like this NBA because all they're doing is shooting threes. Well, not the Pistons. The Pistons are playing different than everybody else. They're trying to score in the paint, but then if it's not there, they flip it out to get the three-pointer. So the Pistons are playing the way the game used to be played, and so I think if you haven't seen them play, you would have an appreciation of what this team is doing, and you would understand they're not doing what the rest of the NBA is doing that you hate so much.
Yeah, exactly. And we got Kool-Aid, a.k.a. Brandon Dents. Keys to the game. Number 1, attack the paint, going perfectly off of what I just said here. The Pistons are the number 1 team in dunks and top 5 team in scoring in the paint, where the Knicks rank 29th in blocks. Kate Cunningham leads the Pistons in paint scoring, which creates opportunities for the league's number 1 lob connection, Cade and Jalen Duren, or dish to Malik Beasley for 3. So attacking the paint, and I'm glad he has that last sentence there too, because the other part about attacking the paint is it opening up the perimeter for a guy, Malik Beasley, that you talked about can be very, very important for you in this series. Attacking the paint doesn't only lead to just, interior finishing. It can lead to wide open shots on the perimeter, something that the Pistons can definitely take advantage of against the New York Knicks. So that is an excellent key. That number 1 lob connection that they got between Cade and Jalen Duren, I think that is going to be a big problem for the Knicks, especially if they don't go Mitchell Robinson. They play a lot of Cat at center because Mitchell Robinson is back now, so that will be a factor in a favor for the Knicks. But if they're going to keep playing Cat at center, that is going to be a connection that we will see quite a bit in this playoff series.
Yeah, and the NBA is like 80 years old.
Yeah.
They have not figured out how to stop the pick and roll.
They haven't.
They have not. And the Knicks are worse than everybody else. So, we might see a big dosage of that, Cade to Jalen Duren, or shoot, they might even put, they may kiss some shrimp off the bench to do it because they know they can't stop the pick and roll, so they can throw anybody out there to do it as long as Cade is quarterbacking it.
Yeah, and you got to trust Cade as a quarterback. He's one of the premier passers in the league, one of the premier playmakers in assists. So you got to trust that pick and roll is going to be a big problem. And the reason it's such a big problem is because typically a good pick and roll defense has one of 2 positions that are very good, either the point guard or the center. In the cases where Cat is the center and Jalen Brunson is a point guard, those are 2 defensive negatives. That is why their pick and roll is so bad, is because without a guy like Mitchell Robinson in there, Jalen Brunson and Karl Anthony Towns are both liable defensively, and they're just going to have a nightmare. Jalen Brunson's going to be exhausted running through Beef Stew and Jalen Duren screens. I don't wish that upon anybody for a whole 7-game series, but that's going to be a big key for them,
especially for a team that plays the amount of minutes that their starters play.
Yeah.
Oh my God, it's going to be a problem. We're going to really see if that, Tibbs runs his player down philosophy. We're going to see if that's really true because they're going against a very physical team in a game in which that's going to be very slow. Like we all know the playoffs to be a half-court game, so I'm really interested to see how they handle that, man, because if they don't come and be physical themselves, the Pistons have a real opportunity to exploit them in a lot of ways, offensively and defensively, man. So we're going to see.
And, bro, they're already complaining about the Pistons being physical.
Yes.
They're already, complaining to the refs. Hey, watch these guys. They're going to try to hit me.
Right.
They're going to try to put my arm behind my back. So watch it. So I think the Knicks mentally have already shown a disadvantage, that they're not ready for what's going to happen with the Pistons. So, but all the Pistons have to do is be physical and just don't become foolish.
Yeah.
Yes.
Physical, but not foolish.
Yeah. And that's
Limit those
actually
fouls.
that's actually gonna lead into one of Brandon's other keys, but I'll flash up number 2 on this list.
Balance is peace. Pistons forged an identity as a 5th-ranked team in terms of offensive rating, but they were 3rd in defense, which has helped drive them the league's 2nd highest scoring transition offense since February 1st. That's a great point because so much of playoff basketball, Terry, you've seen so much playoff basketball. When it comes to scoring in transition, that is something that is absolutely key, and you see the adage all the time that the game slows down. There's not as much of that in the playoffs. But the Pistons, being a great defense, I have confidence that they can still create a high volume of transition play in this series between their athleticism to rip and go off of rebounds and their defense. They are the number 1 team in the league in scoring off of steals. They are a great transition team. I think a lot of that they could keep up. Do you have confidence they can keep up that transition play?
Yeah, I can. And they're going, they're going to have to hit at a high percentage. Now, you're not going to get as many transition points, but when you get the opportunity, you better cash in on it.
Absolutely.
Because if you don't, who knows? You could send the Knicks the other way, and they could get transition points.
Yeah.
So you got to cash in on them.
Yeah, and part of that will be the opposite, right? Is limiting turnovers. And we got this stat, so this backing up what Kool-Aid said earlier here. NBA's highest net ratings since February 1st. Oklahoma City Thunder with a 13.7, Boston Celtics with 10.2, the Cavs with 8.8, the Golden State Warriors 8.5, Minnesota Timberwolves 8.3, the Pistons right there 7.2. You look at particularly those top 3 teams are the top 3 favorites in the NBA to win a championship. And Minnesota obviously had a rough stretch to their season to begin, and same with the Golden State Warriors. But since then, both of those teams have also looked like very good teams as well as Detroit. So it shows you, that group shows you that this is not a fluky stat, because you are looking at 5 of the probably, I'd say, 8 best teams, 9 best teams in the NBA. So this is a verified stat that shows that these are some of the best teams playing great offensively and defensively. Again, the Pistons 118, higher than the Warriors on that list, and just below the Minnesota Timberwolves. And then defensively, man, they are right there. They are a bucket behind OKC, a bucket behind Golden State. They are playing terrific defense right now.
This is a huge stat because the top 3 teams can actually win the NBA title.
Yes.
So, you can't just poo-poo that thing.
It makes you feel good. It makes it feel like the number actually means something. When you go to the top of the list, so you see who's at the top, and it's some of the best teams. So, do we have another key to victory?
We do. We got one
up?
last key to victory, and this one I absolutely love.
Limit self-inflicted wounds. Terry, you mentioned
the biggest key to
turnovers, missed free throws, low energy will never be a winning recipe, which has bitten them a few times this season. Most importantly, avoid technical fouls and ejections at all costs. Play physical, but play smart. And this is so much of what a young team does, right? This is where young teams lose playoff games, is those self-inflicted wounds. Turnovers, letting the crowd or the emotion of the moment consume them. So I love that this is a big key. We talked about Isaiah Stewart. Hopefully PJ Tucker, who's going to play this series, he's not good, but he's going to be in it for one reason and one reason only.
But he plays defense.
He's going to be in for one reason only. You know what that is. That's going to be to make sure Stu gets ejected.
Yep.
He is going to get under Isaiah Stewart's skin, so they have to keep their composure there. Cade has to be great at limiting turnovers. You cannot give this team turnovers, because I do think you're going to win on the glass. You're going to get more shots that way. So if you just don't shoot yourself in the foot with turnovers, getting silly fouls, like a reach, like Jalen Duren getting a reach on Cat up at the perimeter, just one of those pointless fouls that puts you, now you have to play a little bit less aggressive, a little less physical, and it takes the game away from you. So this is a big key. Do you have confidence that they are going to be able to avoid a lot of these self-inflicted wounds in this series?
Not quite, because here's why. The Pistons are not the NBA's favorite. There's going to be times in this series where they're going to either not get calls or they're going to get called for some ticky-tack stuff. Now, in those moments, they have to maintain their composure. Everything's not going to go right. In the NBA, the officials might give the Pistons a quick whistle or an unfair whistle at times, and those are the times where the Pistons are going to have to say, you know what? Oh, damn. Let's move on to the next play.
Yeah.
So that's what's going to be the key.
Yeah.
But if we see Beef Stew, hitting people and running off the court,
Right.
and screaming and cussing and shoving the ref, then you got some problems.
Yeah. I wholeheartedly agree. Make sure you guys are calling in. We want to hear what you think.
Yes, sir. We
What
will open our
are your
eyes.
keys to victory? Who is the player you're most excited to watch in this series? All of that. KG, what's the number one more time so that they have it?
Give me 1 second so I can look that up for
I got
y'all.
it.
It is-
313.
there you go.
552-6322.
Hey, Justin,
right.
can you put that in the chat too?
Yeah. Yeah, if you don't mind. And KG, just phone us through whenever you
Yeah, I got you.
Whenever
I
you
got
whenever we get some calls here, cuz I want to hear what's that?
Number one more time.
313-552-6322.
Make sure you are calling in. We got you covered here at Woodward Sports all day. Again, this is the pregame show leading up to the live watch party featuring Kool-Aid, the heavyweights, a whole bunch of a whole panel of people you know and love from Woodward Sports, and then followed by the post-game show, which will be Kool-Aid, Anson, and myself, along with the whole crew. We got a whole day of playoff basketball. We are doing it right here at Woodward Sports. This is a celebration. This deserves 8 hours of coverage. The Pistons being in the playoffs, this deserves all the coverage, and we are giving it to you. So I can't wait to hear what you guys have as keys. A key for me, we talked about limiting fouls. A key to me is making sure you win the boards, win the battle on the glass. I think the Pistons should comfortably win that. I think they are a much better rebounding team than the New York Knicks. However, they have to maintain that. They can't allow New York Knicks to close that gap, because if they close that gap or win that gap, that will be trouble. If the Pistons can just simply out-rebound them, get extra second chance points, more shots, more opportunities, that will favor the team that is less offensively inclined than the New York Knicks. Because if you give the Knicks an offense with Jalen Brunson, OG Anunoby, Mikal Bridges, Karl Anthony Towns, and whoever they decide to be as their fifth man at times in this series, if you give that team extra shots, that is going to be trouble. So not only is it limiting the turnovers, but it's also winning the battle on the boards. And that goes to what you said, man, just the bigs being physical, going after Karl Anthony Towns, forcing him to adjust to their physicality. But I think they can win the battle of the boards. You feel confident?
And you know what? If they win the battle of the boards, Draymond Green said something else about Cat, that he thinks that Jalen Duren and Beef Stew can make him quit. That's a huge thing to say about another NBA player.
Yeah, crazy.
Make him quit.
The Q word.
Think about that. But he actually said it. You don't say that about anybody in the NBA. So there must be something there going on that Draymond and others know about. The Cat just, if you get too tough with him, you want to get too grimy with him, that at some point he might say, okay, see ya. I'm going to
checking
the beach.
out. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, it's well known. He's been one of those players that you look at, and if you play physical man defense on him for a long period of time, he's gonna get irritated. He's gonna get frustrated, and you got to just point to a couple of the games in the regular season. And I know the regular season don't mean nothing. Yeah, we got it, but there are things that you can take away, and one thing is that he doesn't like playing against Beef Stew. Especially Beef Stew can get out there on the perimeter with him a little bit, and he's somebody that's gonna be up close on him, guard him, for a majority of the game. He doesn't like the strength of Jalen Duren. We all know how strong he is. So if you can rattle him a little bit, especially over the course of a game, because he's gonna get his buckets, make no mistake. He'll probably get his buckets early more times than not, but it's about what you do on him in the second half, in the fourth quarter. And we've seen him, kind of go cold in the fourth quarter if you can maintain that level of physicality with him for a whole game.
Yeah, sure. You know what Beef Stew should do?
What you
Seriously.
do?
He should have a pregame meal of garlic and onions. Just so Cat said, damn, that brother's breath is bad.
Yeah.
That might affect him too.
Nah, big facts, man. In that last Knicks game, I love the stat line that Isaiah Stewart had, that 0 points, 0 assists, 1 rebound. Your sole mission was to go out there and make Cat's life a living hell, and he did that, man. So I want to see more of that in this series.
Yeah, and again, please continue to call in. We want to get your opinions, your voices heard on air before the playoffs start. But Eric Shaw in the Woodward Sports chat says beef stew is going to handcuff Cat. That is interesting. Do you think that beef stew is going to end up playing more minutes than Jalen Duren in this series? Some people have said that.
I don't
quite know.
I think Jalen Duren, who's turned his game around, has shown his physicality, his ability to work the pick and roll with Cade Cunningham, is going to play a majority of the minutes. Now, I was told earlier this season that beef stew is going to take all his time away, and it didn't happen. That's what I was told.
That's what you're told.
I just think that, beef stew is a cute story, and yes, he's going to bother Cat. But Duren is the most talented guy. Durham is the most athletic guy. And Durham is a guy that I think can turn a game around offensively and defensively.
Yeah.
And Beef Stew can turn a game around just by being a pain in the ass.
Oh, yeah.
So where are you going to take your chances?
Yeah. And that's what I think is such a key for the Pistons defense all year, is the fact that this has been a consistent 48 minutes of physical interior play. And that is so hard for a lot of teams to handle, because some teams have a good starting center, and then it goes to their backup, and it's 8 minutes or 10 minutes a game where they just have no physicality. The Pistons are relentless. 48 minutes of physicality. That is going to wear on a guy like Cat. I really like that point. So shout out to Eric Shaw in there.
Yeah, one thing that people are pointing out, well, the Knicks starting five score a lot more points than the Pistons starting five. That's true. However, how many minutes does that Knicks starting five play? And can the Pistons bench make a difference? We have to remember, there's not just 5 dudes out there. Guys 7, 8, 9, whether it's Beef Stew or whoever can come in and make a difference, and you can wear a team down. The Knicks are not going to be as good in game 5 and 6 as they are in game 1. And that's because the series wears you down, not just physically, but mentally. I mean, the Knicks could be looking at game 5 and say, oh, man, you hear these dudes out. They still haven't gone away yet?
Yeah.
Damn.
This is just annoying at this point.
Right.
Yeah. All right, we do got somebody on the line, KG. Who do we have on the line here?
Our first caller of the day is Christopher. Christopher,
hey, great
you
name.
are on the line. What's up, man?
Whoever can come in and make a difference, and you can wear a team down. The Knicks are not going to be as good in game 5 and 6 as they are in game 1.
Hey, you there?
Yep, Christopher, we got you.
He's talking.
Yeah.
We can't hear him.
Wears you down. Not just physically.
Yeah, I'm hearing a loop of what we were just saying, but I'm not hearing him.
All right, let's see.
All
right, yeah, we'll put you back on hold, Christopher.
Yeah, we'll try to figure that out, Christopher. Get you on there. We got to, just off the strength of the name. Going back to the chat here. Well, let's see here what we got. We got. Anyone know what channel the game is on? The game is on ESPN. Jay Hart says we have the best bench in the East. Terry, how much? That's a great point. How much bench play do you think that matters? We talked about playoff rotation shortening, but the Knicks are notoriously thin, very top-heavy team. Do you think that the Pistons is one of the better benches in the league, in the conference? How much of an advantage can that be, or do you expect that to be?
Not a big advantage early in the series, but as the series goes on, you're playing every other day, then it should play a bigger role, because not only are you playing fewer minutes than the Knicks, but you also jabbing them in the side. You're also annoying them. You're doing a lot of things what the Knicks are going to be like, we don't want to deal with this. So the bench plays a big role. That's why they play a 7-game series. It's not just about who's got the best starting 5. If that was the case, they'd play like a best 2 out of 3. But they want to see who is the best team from top to bottom.
Well, that's why you don't see a lot of 3-0 comebacks. You've never seen one in the NBA, because the better team will win. This isn't football where, the better team can win, can lose. They cannot have the best night, and then boom, your season's over. We unfortunately saw that here in Detroit earlier this year with the Lions. And basketball is different, man. The better team will win the series. So I'm with you. I think that the bench is a big point. I don't know if it's necessarily going to be the selling point that will get them there. It can be a edge for the Pistons, and I think that's what the Pistons will need. They'll need a few edges here and there to overcome the talent deficit, to overcome not having home court advantage. There's a few things stacked against them in the deck, and so it won't just be one thing. It won't just be winning the battle on the boards. It will also be winning bench points. It will also be, limiting turnovers. All these factors, I think that's what it takes for the Pistons. I think the Pistons can't win just one of those categories. They have to win several of those in order to overcome what's going to be a good series. I think Jalen Brunson is absolutely going to bring it offensively. And beyond that, I don't know what we're going to get out of Mikal Bridges, OG Anunoby, Karl Anthony Towns, some of those other guys. But Jalen Brunson, I know him. He is a playoff demon. He is a certified playoff baller. I can't wait to see what he does.
Yeah. Brunson is going to get his, but
Yeah.
you can't allow him to go off at like 32 or 34 points. Hold him to 24 and have him shooting like 40% or below, and you'll be good. But it can't be 32 points on 18 shots or something like that.
Yeah, I agree. Mr. My City,
Shout out, man.
with the super chat. Cat is too sassy to handle how we coming. Detroit in 6. Man, wouldn't that be so sick to see the series closed at home?
A lot of people been saying
Man.
Detroit in 6. That seems to be like the consensus of what Pistons fans think. And I think New York fans, they're a little nervous, man. I can't lie. I was watching 7 p.m. in Brooklyn, Carmelo Anthony's podcast. Shout out to him, man. Really, really good podcast. And he was kind of saying, some of the Knicks fans, they've been showing us a lot of love and respect, but could that actually be fear? Are they in fear of, how physical the Pistons are and how they can wear you down over, a 7-game period?
I need you to do me a favor.
What's up?
Drop the word a little bit nervous. They're nervous.
Okay. You done seen Stephen A. come out and say the Knicks could have a problem? You haven't seen a lot of just outright Knicks support.
Yeah.
Yeah, but Stephen A. said, "Oh man, they really got to worry about the Pistons. The Pistons are coming. The Pistons are coming. Oh man, watch out for the Pistons. Oh, by the way, Knicks in 6."
You're right.
Yeah.
So they
Well, he ain't gonna go against them.
Yeah.
Not fully.
They're talking this junk, but bottom line, ESPN had 10 people say who's gonna win this series. All 10 picked the Knicks.
Yeah. And that's fine. That's where Detroit wants to be. It's Detroit versus everybody for a reason.
One thing I haven't seen though, a lot of people predicting sweeps. Like every that prediction I've seen says that the Pistons will at least get a game in this series. If the Pistons were to only get a game in this series, would you be upset with that? Do you think they're capable of way more? Are you just satisfied with them getting in there and just putting up a good fight?
They have to be competitive. They have to be the Detroit Pistons they've been. As long as they are not falling below what they've played this year, then I think that is a successful season. That is something to be proud of. But if they go to the playoffs and the lights are too bright, it's not the end of things. But that is something that's going to put a sting on what is a great euphoric season that this has been. You have to, if you're going to lose, you have to go out playing the way that you've always played, not being scared of the moment. And I don't think the Pistons will. I think regardless of how this series plays out, win or lose, this team will not look bad. And that's all you want. If they get there and they have the national media that the New York Knicks bring and they just completely, fall flat on their face, that will take away, that will put a bitter taste at the end of what's been a great season. And I don't think they do that, Terry. You don't think so either?
I'd be disappointed if they lost this series.
Yeah.
Wow.
They're not finished, and that's what they're saying. Even though they're a 6 seed and the Knicks are a 3 seed, I expect the Pistons to win this series. And if they don't, I'd be disappointed. I'd be like, what happened, fellas?
Yeah.
And it has to be the way they lose. Let's say they lost and they played a great series. The Knicks just up their game. You go 7 games. You go down to the last 3 minutes. I can't hate on that.
Right.
But if they come out like, whoa, my God, where are we?
Yeah.
And then they play scared, then I got a problem with that.
I agree wholeheartedly. Do we got anybody on the phone lines we want to go to?
Not yet.
Not yet. All right,
Yep.
Please keep calling. The number is pinned in the chat once again. That's 313-552-6322. Call in, give us your opinions. Who is the biggest X factor? Who is somebody that you're looking forward to watching in this series? What are your predictions for Game 1? And what do you think the series is going to play out as? Going back to the chat here, I have one from Sandy. Brunson is going to foul out trying to guard Cade.
Yeah, no,
yeah.
he's a flop artist, bro.
He is, and that's what I'm curious about, because actually Detroit got more free throw attempts than the Knicks did this season, which is kind of interesting. But again, Brunson was out a key stretch of the season for them. So
and the Knicks not a physical team.
Down.
They don't push the issue, so you're not gonna get a lot of fouls when you don't push the issue.
Exactly. But I'm curious to see how that whistle is gonna go in the playoffs, because they do talk about, letting it be more physical in the playoffs. But I'm interested to see Game 1 if they do, because it's Detroit. They have the ticky-tack calls that favor New York, because if that's going to be a thing, then this is going to be an issue. But if they allow Detroit to play physical from Game 1 on, that is a huge, huge thing. So if they call some ticky-tack calls at the beginning of this game, that's going to get in those young players' heads, and they're going to be like, man, what the hell is this? I thought we could be physical. I thought everybody tells us you can be physical in the playoffs. What's happening? So I think
it
that's
doesn't
the key.
even have to be ticky-tack fouls against the Pistons. If they call ticky-tack fouls on both sides, that will mess with the Pistons' psyche.
Yeah,
that's true. Hey, we got my man Flannel Sam.
He said
in the
he was
building,
on the way.
Gonna be here for the watch
He don't
party.
lie,
Y'all in
does it?
trouble now.
Yeah, man.
Y'all in trouble now.
This is gonna be a good one. Super Bowl Cartier says, nah, they're saying Knicks in 5. They want the smoke. New York Knicks media, it's funny. I've been actually watching, outside of our coverage, I've been watching a lot of the New York Knicks coverage, podcasts and stuff, because I want to see how they're talking about this team. And you know what they all say? They all bring up the physicality. They all bring up that the Knicks team is soft. Their own media is calling this team soft. That's crazy to me. That's just crazy.
Well,
That's
the
just
media
crazy
is
to me.
supposed to call it like you see it.
Yeah.
You're not supposed to tell the fans what they want to hear. If the team is soft, you bring it up. If the team is hard edge, you bring it up. If you think the team is going to win a series, you bring it up. You talk about it. You think they're going to lose, you say it. So that's what and the New York media is probably a little tougher than it is in Detroit. They will bring up your flaws, talk about it, and won't let it go.
Bluegrass Wolverine says, man, Pistons in 1. Yeah, I said 1. Series is over tonight. You heard it. You heard it here first, folks. Pistons got to buy into the next round. Rando Smalls, I think the Pistons come out working Cade to Duren until the Knicks show they can stop it. Yeah, we talked about this on the playoff preview show, right? Make them the Knicks should be making the Pistons adjust to them, but if the Pistons come out and make the Knicks adjust to them, if they control the tempo, the adjustments of this series, that is a huge favor to whatever team that is. Whatever team that is, it's
Right.
huge.
And that can already happen because there's talk. We don't know if it's going to happen, but they could play Mitchell Robinson more minutes than they want to. And that would be an admission that, hey, the Pistons are a strong team. We're kind of weak in the middle, so we got to bring in our bull and play him more minutes than we want him to. That's a big admission right there.
Yeah, I agree. A couple of people in the chat talking about the beard I got here. I got the Honest Abe beard, as you can see. That's what I'm here for, man. It's playoff basketball. Can't really tell no lies with a beard like this. Can't really tell no lies. Man, I can't wait for this watch party. This is going to be so fun.
Yeah, it's going to be lit, man.
Flail Sam,
Hey.
we got you in the building here. Let's talk about what is your most exciting player to watch in this series, or biggest X factor, however you want to take it. Who's the guy you're just most looking forward to watching, and or is it because they're a key to the victory in this series, or you just want to see how they handle themselves?
Well, if I can't go Cade, which I know that's
Yeah,
the stock
easy
answer.
answer.
House money.
I will just say the big men, because I've said it before. I don't want to sound like a broken record, but I think Karl Anthony Towns, how he plays completely flips the series. If Karl Anthony Towns is allowed to be, or plays like this Knicks regular season Karl Anthony Towns, I think the Pistons have zero chance. But if he gets bothered a bit if he turns the ball over, if he doesn't shoot threes, make threes, if he's not super physical, if he doesn't get rebounds, if Beef Stew and Jalen Duren can do their part in bothering them, and Karl-Anthony Towns turns back into playoff Karl-Anthony Towns. I think that that's the biggest factor in the series. Cat kind of is the key to everything, and I don't know. I'm higher on Cat than most, but I will also say that in the playoffs, he's had his struggles, and I hope that continues.
Yeah, if Cat is not Cat, if Cat is not regular season Cat, the Pistons win this, maybe even in 5. Like, Cat is such a big factor for them in this series in terms of what he can do for the New York Knicks offensively, the type of tough situations he can put the bigs on. Jalen Duren, we know this is a knock on him. He doesn't love to go out there and guard on the perimeter. Isaiah Stewart will guard on the perimeter, but he makes his money as a great interior defender. So that is something that is an absolute key. If Karl-Anthony Towns comes out here and he is struggling, he gets in foul trouble, he just doesn't have a shooting rhythm, that is a huge, huge disadvantage to the New York Knicks. And I don't care what wings they got. The Pistons got great defensive wings in Asar Thompson, Cade Cunningham. So if this just becomes a battle of the wings, while you like the wings the New York Knicks have, the Pistons' physical play plus the wings they have, I think that'd be a huge, huge advantage for the Pistons if Cat is anything like the playoff Cat that we've grown to know and love now that we're Pistons fans.
Right now, we would love playoff Cat. We'd love playoff Cat to show up in this series. But speaking of playoffs and underperformances, and I mentioned this on the Thursday night show, but I'll repeat it. The Pistons veterans, the Malik Beasleys of the world, the Tobias Harrises, and you can even go to J.B. Bickerstaff as the coach. They have been pivotal to this team's success. Trajan Langdon did a phenomenal job in getting the right veterans to augment this team. However, Malik Beasley's been a bit of a playoff underperformer. Tobias Harris is been a playoff underperformer to the point where the Philadelphia 76ers fans think that he's Satan. Tim Hardaway Jr. was in and out of the Mavs rotation last year when they were making their run to the finals, and J.B. Bickerstaff was fired from the Cavs primarily because they didn't do anything in the playoffs. I'm kind of curious to see who of these Detroit Pistons veterans really atones for their playoff allegations and really answers them in a good way this series.
That's a great point.
I think you're in different circumstances.
Sure.
And now, obviously, you're in a different one now. The person I think will atone himself will be Tim Hardaway. I mean, he was in a offense with Luka Doncic, and Luka could take like 15 shots in a row. So you're going to be out of sync sometimes.
Yeah.
Now he's in an offense where the lead player is not just trying to get his. The lead player is trying to make you look good.
Yes.
So that could be a big difference right there for him.
That is a great point because I've actually knocked Tim Hardaway for his playoff struggles, or not knocked him, but just said, hey, look, Pistons fans, there's a very real possibility that this guy gets himself played off of the floor because he's not the best. Because he's not the best defensive player.
Give yourself more credit.
Yeah.
That's a knock.
Yeah, that is a knock. But that's an excellent point about Luka. I didn't even really factor in the fact that it's a much more free-flowing offense we got here in Detroit, and something that is more empowering to a guy like Tim Hardaway. And you hear that all the time with role players. They have to be empowered in order to get the best results. We do got somebody on the line. KJ,
yeah, we're going to try the phones again. We got my boy Leo on the line. Leo, you are on the Pistons pregame show. What's up,
Leo?
with
What's
you?
up, man? How you feeling?
I'm feeling good. What's up?
Leo the Lion. We can hear you loud and clear.
Yeah, loud and clear, man. What's up, man? What's on your mind, man? How you feeling about the Pistons? Playoff basketball is back.
Man, I'm feeling good. I'm on my way to my friend's house to watch the game. I got all my chains on. I'm turned up.
That's what's up, man. That's what's up, man. Who do you think is the biggest X factor in this series? Who do you think will determine the Pistons winning or losing this series?
Cade Cunningham, because of the type of team we have.
Yeah. I mean that's 100%. That's 100% right. This team is built around Cade. If Cade falls flat, this team is not going to make it very far in this series. Before we get you out of here, Game 1 prediction and series prediction.
Pistons 5-1. I don't see the Knicks having a chance at all.
Wow. All right, man. Thank you,
Not
Leo.
at all.
Thank you, Leo.
That's
We
okay.
appreciate we appreciate you for.
I'm sorry. No,
Okay.
4-1, 5 games. I think the Pistons drop one in New York. They win both in Detroit, and they win Game 5 in New York.
Damn, they just put them out their misery like that.
Yeah, if the Pistons up 3-1 going back to Madison Square Gardens, man,
Oh yeah,
that place is going to be.
that's a home game.
Yeah, they're going to be pissed.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's a home game.
that's a home game for the Pistons, man. Leo, thank you for calling in. Appreciate your support here on Woodward Sports. We're gonna be tapped in all day, giving you the best coverage. So make sure you are tuned in for the watch party coming up right after this. Before we get out of here, do we have any more callers?
Not currently.
All right, not currently. So get your calls in. We got a few more minutes. We got to wrap up a little bit before 6 o'clock in order to get things set up for the watch party.
And that number is 313-552-6322.
Mr. My City, another super chat. New York Knicks is soft. Not the whole roster, but a vast majority is. We showed up to MSG, suited and booted, ready for business. Tobias is the X factor for us. He has to show up and help Cade. Pistons in 6. Stu in all caps. And D Hint with another super chat. New York Knicks, red bricks, cinnamon sticks. Pistons in 6. Cade dropping 30 tonight.
That's been my favorite part about all this.
Dude, that was a bit.
36, it would have finished the run.
Yeah. That there were so many. I seen another one in here. I can't remember off rip, but it's like cat, fat, Pistons in 6, something like that.
Oh my God.
Yeah, man. Keep those coming, man. Keep those coming all series. I'm excited. I see. FU go vegan. Do the Pistons play today? Yes, they do. They definitely do.
Yes,
6
sir.
o'clock. 6 o'clock. Just saying, guys. Exploit any weakness the Knicks have. Team may come out directly to prove they aren't soft. So don't stop pestering them.
Yep.
That's the key.
Shout
man.
out most favorite.
Shout out most favored for that. You have to remain physical. You can't lose confidence in the physicality, even if the first couple whistles don't go your way. Because the second you abandon that, you lose a huge edge for the Pistons. Let's get our Game 1 predictions, series predictions. Let's go around the room real quick. Terry, I'll start with you. Game 1, how you feeling and how you feeling about the series?
I think in Game 1 that the Knicks will show that, for the most part, they are the better team, but not over 6 games. I think the Knicks win tonight, be something like 103-97 or something. But the Pistons will be annoying enough, and they won't go away. And where the Knicks are thinking, okay, Game 2, which is the one the Pistons are going to steal on the road, they're thinking, man, these brothers are not going away, so we're gonna have to fight them again. And I don't think their fight's going to be enough in Game 2. And once again, I talked about you being annoying, how you wearing the Knicks down.
Mm-hmm.
They're going to be worn down by Game 2 or 3, and those are games the Pistons take.
Yeah, I have a weird prediction. Because I'm sticking to my prediction. Again, I accept this can be wrong. Again, I accept
Talk your shit.
the fact that I am honest Abe. This beard, I cannot lie to you.
Right.
And right now, until I see it, I have the Pistons winning Game 1 because I think historically that's the game the lower seed wins, is that first game, sets the tone, catches you a little bit off guard. You're a little over-prepared, underprepared. But I think the Knicks win this in 6. I think the Pistons can absolutely win this series. But right now, before seeing a single game, I have to go Knicks. I have to go Knicks to 6. I'm sorry I have to be the villain here, guys. I'm sorry because I think I'm going to be the only one. I think I'm going to be the only one in this room. Flannel, what do you got?
All right, tonight I actually have the Pistons winning. I've got them winning something like kind of like a 106 to 100 or 106 to 99 type game.
Yep.
I expect Cade to really put on a show in his first ever playoff game. And one of the X factors, I think Malik Beasley hits at least 5 threes. He's talked a lot of smack. Time to go back it up and play like the 6th man of the year on a $6 million contract that you are.
Which he's not going to win, by the
contract. Way. That godsend contract, man. Trajan Langdon, keep finding Malik Beasley's, please.
Yeah, man.
Keep finding Malik Beasley's. Justin, what do you got for us, bro? What's your prediction for Game 1 in the series?
I think that the Knicks are going to take game 1. I like the Pistons in stealing game 2. I just think that I like Terry's description perfectly. I think the Knicks are the talented team, but because of the way that Tibbs plays them and runs them down, I think that the Pistons are going to take advantage of that later in the series. But I just think the Knicks are going to overwhelm them and have the experience to win in game 1. But I got Pistons in 6.
Yeah, and you know what? Cat's not the only one with a hot seat under him. Tibbs does too.
Yeah.
Because, he does wear his players down. He is a tough-minded, old-school coach that may not work in today's game as well.
Yeah. And guess what? It's a lot easier to, if things are going wrong, change the coach than it is to change the players.
True.
That's a fact. That's bars right there.
So he might be the one on the way out. KG, we do have a phone call, but quickly,
Yeah, this
want to
is
give yours.
our last caller of the pregame show is Sandy. Sandy, you are on the Pistons playoff preview show. What's going on?
What's up, Sandy? Sandy, you there?
Sandy.
Yes.
Hey, Sandy. How you doing? How you feeling about this Pistons game?
Good.
Good?
Ready for the win.
All right. What do you think? You think they're going to win today and win the series?
Yes.
All right.
They're going to win today.
All right, give us some reasons. Talk to us.
Hi.
All right, don't just tell us hi. Give us some information.
We're going to win.
All right, we got to let Sandy go.
All right, Sandy,
All
we
right.
appreciate
Yeah,
we
thank you,
appreciate you
Sandy.
calling. Thank you, Sandy. Shout out to Sandy for that call. KG, what is your expert opinion on there? Kevin Garnett, I'll go to you. What's happening in this
Thank you, man.
series?
He was inspired by me after all. But
The OG KG.
Oh, yeah. I think we all know that this series is predicated on who can get the most wins on the road. And a lot of the, consensus that I've seen is that, the Pistons, they don't have the playoff experience. That's really the only thing I've really seen people point to as to why the Knicks will win this series. And listen, I got news for you. Cade is ready for Madison Square Garden, man. He is built for this. His play style is suited for this type of playoff situation, so I'm not really worried about him. I think they come out and shock the Knicks tonight. And listen, it may get to a point where the Knicks are up by double digits, but over the course of a whole ball game, especially in the third and fourth quarters, I feel like this Pistons team is going to lock in defensively, and they're going to go out there and be able to contend with the Knicks, man. I see Cade having a big night, 30-point night, and somebody got to come with him. So whoever it is, role player-wise, maybe Tim Hardaway gives you one of those signature games. Maybe Malik Beasley goes out there for 4 threes. He needs somebody to go with him, but I definitely got the Pistons winning this game tonight.
So I just heard a little hint of old man out of him when he said, over the course of a whole ball game. That's what old fellas say.
Oh,
It's that patience. It's that patience.
Yeah.
It's that, the OG KG.
Yes, sir.
OG KG. Thank you guys for tapping in to the Detroit Pistons playoff preview show, the first one in Woodward Sports history. I am Chris Platte with the legend of Detroit sports media, Terry Foster, as well as Flannel Sam in the chair, and in the booth holding it down is Natty Champ, Justin, and then OG KG. We thank y'all for tuning in. Next is the Watch Game Live party. Make sure you are tapping in. We'll be watching the game live, breaking it down with you, featuring Kool-Aid, the Heavies, all the personalities you know and love here in Detroit sports, breaking down this game, and then following that is the post game immediately after. So a whole night of Detroit Pistons basketball. We are doing it big for the first Pistons basketball in the history of Woodward Sports, your #1 digital network. So make sure you're giving us a follow on all socials, and you stay right here on YouTube. We'll be back in a good 10-15 minutes to give you the watch party. Peace.